Hello everyone. Welcome to the lecture series on computer architecture and organization. In this lecture we are going to discuss about the role of performance by the computer system. Before getting into that, in the last class we discussed among the 8 great ideas in computer architecture, only 4 have been discussed. So in this lecture we are going to discuss the remaining 4. So the first 4, let us recap that. The first great idea in computer architecture is Moore's law. So, what this Moore's law states is that the resources double or quadruple between the start and finish of the project. So, whenever an architect begins the project, he should keep in mind that by the time he finished the project, the resources will be doubled on the chip. So, this was given by Gordon Moore, one of the founders of Intel. This prediction was done on 1965. And the next great idea is use of abstraction. So abstraction in the sense is to hide some details. So what is the use of this abstraction is that it is used to represent the design at different levels of representation. So the lower level details are hidden to offer a simpler model at higher levels. Okay. And the next great idea is making the common case fast. So what is common case in the sense, we need to analyze, and by the experimentation process and measurement process, with the common sense will come to what is the common case. So we need to make this common case fast, then we need to optimize the rare case. And the next great idea is performance via parallelism. So what is this parallelism in the sense, many more performance by performing operations in parallel. So what does this mean is that we can improve the performance by performing the operations in parallel by the processes. Okay. So the next great idea is performance via parallelism. So what is this performance via pipelining or performance via parallelism in the sense? Pipelining is nothing but a pattern of parallelism that is so prevalent in computer architecture. Hence it merits its own name, pipelining. For example, you take a building is caught with fire. So we must respond to the fire. So in that case, the following two cases may happen. An individual may run back and forth in order to fetch a bucket of water in order to respond to the fire. And the second case is that the people around that building may form a human chain so that the bucket of water may be passed from one hand to another hand to respond to the fire. So if we observe that in the second case, the process is very fast. Likewise, this parallelism increase the performance in computer architecture. Okay. And the next great idea which we are going to discusses performance via prediction. So, following the saying that it can be better to ask for forgiveness than to ask for permission, the final great idea is prediction. So, if we analyze a design, we need to guess what is happening in the design and we need to work on that design. We need not to wait for the certainty or the sure thing to happen. So, this mechanism, when we do like this, we need to keep it in mind, that is we have to keep it in mind that a prediction is relatively accurate, as well as the mechanism to recover from a misprediction is not too expensive. So we have used the fortune teller's crystal ball here as a prediction icon. And the next great idea is hierarchy of memories. So what is this hierarchy of memories in the sense, or what does it mean is that, um, often programmers want the memory to be very fast as well as it should be very large, but the programmer wants the memory to be very cheap. Okay, because if you want the memory to be fast in the sense, the speed often determines the performance or it shapes the performance. And if the memory is very large, then the capacity limits the size of the problems that can be solved. And if it is very cheap, why they want it very cheap in the sense, today's the cost of memory is often the majority of computer cost. So always the programmer wants the memory to be very fast, large as well as cheap. So what these architects have found that they can address these conflicting demands with the hierarchy of memories. Here we have used the triangle icon to represent the hierarchy of memories. So keep it in mind, this shape indicates three factors, that is speed, cost and size. So if you observe this icon, the closer to the top, the faster and more expensive per bit the memory. Okay, so if you choose a memory which is at the top, it will be the faster as well as the more expensive per bit. If you see the bottom of the memory, then it indicates wider the base of the layer, bigger the memory. So this triangle shape indicates the hierarchy of memories. And the last great idea in computer architecture is dependability via redundancy. So dependability we have already discussed. So what is dependability in the sense, if a system works very well without any device failure inside that, then we say the system is dependable. So how can we achieve this dependability in the system is by redundancy here. So what is redundancy? Say for example, we are traveling by a car and a car front wheel gets punctured due to some problem, and we will replace that tire that once punctured with another tire that we keep in our own vehicle, and we will be continue traveling. Likewise, in the device also or in the system also, we will be having some extra devices inside the system so that these devices may take over when a failure occurs. Not only this helps to take over the failure, but it also used to detect the failures. So we have used the tractor trailer icon here because the dual tires on each side of its rear axles allow the truck to continue driving even one tire fails. Okay, so that's all about the 8 great ideas. Let us summarize these 8 great ideas in computer architecture. The first is the design for Moore's law, and the second is we are using the abstractions to simplify the design. Abstractions are nothing but it is used to represent the design at different levels of representation. And the third thing is making the common case fast. Fourth one is performance via parallelism. In order to improve the performance, we are doing this type of parallelism in computing. And performance via pipelining is the fifth great idea. So pipelining is nothing but the pattern of parallelism that we are using in computer architecture. And the next great idea is performance via prediction. We need to work on prediction rather to wait for the certainty. And the seventh great idea is hierarchy of memories, usage of memories or splitting of the memories depending on the demand. So depending on the conflicting demands by the programmer, we are splitting the memories, and we are hierarchy of the memories gives the programmer to choose their memory on the need. Depending upon the need, they are choosing the memories. And the last one is dependability via redundancy. Redundant components will help to take over the failure, and it also used to help to detect the failures. The next important technique or the concept which we are going to see is performance. What is the need for performance? If we want to analyze two different computer, then we must know how the system works. Okay. Nowadays, performance assessment is much more difficult. So why it is difficult in the sense, it depends on two factors. One is the scale and the intricacy of the modern software systems, and the second thing is that the hardware designers use wide range of performance improvement techniques in order to improve their computer performance. We know that performance is an important attribute while speaking about the performance of computers. But this performance, this attribute takes different definition from the point of user, from the point of designers, as well as from the point of salespeople. Hence, understanding how best to measure the performance and the limitations of performance measurement is important in selecting a computer. So, if you say this, performance is the key to understanding underlying motivation for the hardware and its organization. And the second thing is that it is to measure, report, and summarize performance to enable users to make the intelligent choices as well as to see through the marketing hype. So at the end of the session, you will be having the answers in your hand for these following questions. Why is some hardware better than others for different programs? And what factors of system performance are hardware related? Example, do we need a new machine or a new operating system? And the third is, how does the machine's instruction set affect performance? So how can we define performance? Take an example of this. Here we are comparing the performance of the 4 airplane. The four airplane, the performance is compared on the basis of passengers, the range of miles it covers, and the speed it travels. Okay, so depending on the number of passengers it carries, we say the airplane Boeing 747 is the best one. If you compare the performance of the airplane on the basis of the range of miles it covers, we say DC-850 is the best one. If we compare the performance of the airplane on the basis of the speed, then we say that airplane Concorde is the best one. So, the performance is based on some metrics. Likewise, we can define the computer performance in several different ways, as we have compared this airplane in several different ways. We have compared this airplane in three different ways, that is, one on the basis of passengers, and another on the basis of range, that is the miles it covered, and another on the basis of the speed it travels. So likewise, we can define the computer performance in several different ways. Similarly, how can we compare the performance of the computer? So the performance of the computer can be measured only through time, and time. So from the point of individual user and from the point of system manager, the computer performance differ. So see here, response time. The response time is the performance that is seen by the individual user time. How long does it take for my job to run? How long does it take to execute my job? How long must I wait for the database query? Nothing but the computer should respond to a query very fast. The computer which responds the query in a quick manner, then we say that computer is the best one compared to the other one. In case of system manager concern, they will concentrate only on the throughput or the bandwidth. For example, he will think this much amount of job should be done by my computer so that I may qualify this computer as the best one. For example, he will have a stipulated time. So within that stipulated time, his computer should perform more number of jobs. So depending upon the system manager concerns, or from the point of system manager, he will say the computer works better if the total amount of work done is performed in a given time. Okay, so he qualifies this term as the throughput or bandwidth. If you see here, the throughput answers the following questions: how many jobs can the machine run at once, and what is the average execution rate, and how much work is getting done. Okay, so if you go through the following questions, to think of, if we upgrade a machine with a new processor, what do we increase? Whether we will increase the execution time or the response time, or we will increase the throughput. If we add a new machine to the lab, what do we increase? Whether we will increase the response time or throughput time, this is left to you. So what is execution time? So execution time is otherwise called as elapsed time. That is the time taken by the complete program to run in a disk. Say for example, it includes both the software part as well as the hardware part. Okay. So what is elapsed time? Meaning counts everything, that is the disk and memory accesses, waiting for input output operations, running other programs, etc. from the start to finish. So it is a useful number, but we are not taking this for the comparison purposes, because elapsed time is the combination of both the CPU time and the wait time. So what is CPU time? Coming to the point of CPU time, CPU time includes two time. One is the user CPU time as well as the system CPU time. So what is this user CPU time? In the sense, the CPU time that is spent in a program itself, only the time that is spent in executing the lines of the code. So that is CPU time. So what is system CPU time? The CPU that interacts with the system. Say for example, the time spent in the operating system performing task on behalf of the program. That is the system CPU time. Okay, so it doesn't count waiting for the input output operations or the time spent running other programs. As we have seen, it is a combination of both the user CPU time as well as the system CPU time. So the elapsed time is a combination of CPU time and the wait time. So elapsed time can be written as user CPU time plus system CPU time plus wait time. Okay, our focus is only on the user CPU time, that is the time spent by the CPU in the program itself, or the time spent executing the lines of code that are in a program. Okay, so so far we have discussed about what is performance. Let us see the remaining topics in the next lecture. Thank you for now.